Teacher Talking Sports, what it does, what it do, how we live, and let's continue this series I've been doing where I name who I believe is the best player in each MLB franchise's history, their all-time GOAT. Previously did these for NBA, NFL, and NHL teams. They're on playlists, you can check them out, as are the MLB teams I've done thus far. Going in alphabetical order, today we land on the Minnesota Twins. Now, Minnesota Twins franchise started as the Washington Senators. There was a time they were known as the Washington Nationals as well, but a lot of people still referred to them as the Senators. They've been the Minnesota Twins since 1961. All in all, they have won three championships, one coming as Washington in 1924, and then two as the Twins in 1987 and 1991. Now, before I reveal who I believe is the GOAT of the franchise, I've been revisiting the MLB Mount Rushmores I did around 3 years ago, where I named who I believe are the four best players in each franchise's history. So just um, taking another look at them, seeing if I would make any changes, I decided to keep Minnesota Twins the same. Now, I do have Washington mixed in with them. There is one Washington player on here, but alphabetical order by last name. We got Rod Carew, 12 seasons with the Twins, won 7 batting titles with the team, 334 average with Minnesota. Big Train Walter Johnson pitched all 21 seasons with Washington and won 417 games in his career. Harmon Killebrew, quite the power hitter, 1969 AL MVP, smashed 559 homers over 21 seasons with the Twins, and the late great Kirby Puckett. Puckett played 12 seasons in the big leagues, all-star in each of the last 10 seasons, member of Minnesota Twins, 2 World Series winning teams, was an ALCS MVP and a batting title winner. Some honorable mentions for both Washington and Minnesota include Tony Oliva, Joe Judge, Goose Goslin, Joe Mauer, Sam Rice, Burt Blyleven, Johan Santana, Jim Cott, Joe Nathan, to name a few. At the end of the video, I'll take a look at the active roster, decide if anyone has a chance to maybe make the Mount Rushmore become an honorable mention. But in the end, I had to go with the big train, Walter Johnson. Now, let me say at the end, I'm going to name who I believe is the Minnesota Twins' best player of all time. But since the Twins' history is intertwined with Washington Senators, I had to go with Walter Johnson. Pitched all 21 seasons of his career with Washington from 1907 to 1927. He was named the league MVP in 1913 and 1924. There was bold ink everywhere on his page. One of the all-time great pitchers, even though it's been nearly a century since he last pitched. Let's take a look at his season-by-season numbers via his baseball reference page. He, for his career, a 417 and 279 record, 2.17 ERA, 531 complete games, 110 shutouts, incredible, 3,509 strikeouts, a 1.06 whip. I mean, look at how many times he led the league in categories. Let's just say strikeouts 12 times, whip 6 times, ERA 5 times, wins 6 times, complete games 6 times, shutouts 7 times. Even had 34 saves in his career as well. Johnson was a part of the 1924 World Series championship team. They also made it the following year in 1925, but lost to the Pittsburgh Pirates by a 2.52 ERA in his 50 career innings in the postseason. Walter Johnson, many seasons with a sub 2 ERA. His best came in 1913, a 1.14 ERA. Every season from 1910 to 1916 had a sub 2 ERA, and 4 other seasons other than that as well. Walter Johnson had 10 straight seasons from 1910 to 1919 where he won at least 20 games, and then did so 2 other times in his career. If you take a look, as I mentioned, pitched his whole career for Washington. But when you look at the all-time leaders, and he was inducted into the inaugural class of the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1936. But he's actually, his WAR is the second highest in Major League history, at least according to Baseball Reference. The only guy better than him is the Sultan of SWAT, Babe Ruth, but he's second all time in wins, only behind Cy Young. He is third all time in innings pitched, ninth all time in strikeouts, fifth all time in complete games. His 110 shutouts is an MLB record. Yes, Walter Johnson pitched nearly a century ago. He last pitched, but he was so dominant that I had to name him the GOAT of the franchise. Of course, he didn't pitch for the Minnesota Twins, so it was really tight. If I were to name a GOAT for the Twins, between the three guys on my Mount Rushmore, I think all of them have a case, but I would give the ever so slight edge to Rod Carew, just one of the probably the best hitter throughout the 1970s and the late 60s. Totaled 2,085 hits over his 12 seasons with the Twins. But let me know in the comments, do you agree with my Mount Rushmore? Do you agree with my best player in franchise history? Do you agree with my best player in Twins history? Now, for all these, I take a look at the active roster. So if anyone has a chance to overtake the GOAT, definitely not. Make the Mount Rushmore be an honorable mention. Now, two guys just can't stay healthy. If they did, would have much better chance of maybe being honorable mention. That is Byron Buxton, who's now 30 years old. But a guy like Royce Lewis, yes, he is still just 25, but just has been unable to stay healthy. Therefore, he's going to have to string together some great seasons to really be in consideration. Um, Carlos Correa probably came a bit too late, and his two seasons have been good, not spectacular. Maybe Pablo Lopez remains with the team a while and performs well enough, but honestly, I don't really foresee anyone having a chance at the Mount Rushmore, and maybe Buxton for honorable mention, but that's really it for now. But stay tuned for tomorrow. I will be doing I believe the New York Mets. Let me just make sure. Yes, the New York Mets are next. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Subscribe, like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.